Hey yo YouTube, what's going on? Juniio here, back again with another reaction video, back again with another viewer request. Today I'm very excited because we finally get to react to Bathory. Zip's fan base left this comment about a month ago. I was like, of course I need to react to Bathory. One of the most influential, infamous metal acts ever, at least when it comes to the more underground scene. They're one of the bands that came along in the early 80s that kind of really laid the groundwork for what would eventually become true cult black metal. Bathory is also credited or known for starting Viking metal as well, with their 5th album. But this is going to be from their 4th one, Blood, Fire, Death, the song A Fine Day to Die. I've never heard it before, but needless to say, I'm very excited to listen to it. I've been loving 90s black metal so much right now. I figured it's only right that I go back in time even farther to the originators of even that sound. Bathory, Venom, I don't know who else, like Celtic Frost. I'm sure there's a few other bands that are kind of credited with starting the black metal sound, but Bathory is definitely one of the most well known. So thank you, Zip's fan base. Everybody following their example. Leave your comment suggestions down below, and the next video could be yours. I'm really getting that sense of atmosphere, at least. Oh. So that intro was very interesting. It was very, like I said, very getting that atmospheric quality that black metal is so known for. At the end there, the harmonies almost took on a choral quality, which I thought was pretty interesting, pretty cool. It says here that this kind of like mellow intro lyric bits was taken from Casilda's song in the book The King in Yellow by Robert W. Chambers. I've never heard of this book before, but apparently it was written in the 1800s. Okay, so, you know, not my bad entirely. I'm not the hugest history literary buff, but I don't know, maybe I'll have to check it out at some point. If anybody's read it, let me know if it's any good and if it's worth checking out. Let's see if we can figure out why you would choose this excerpt from a song to put at the beginning of your song. Orgy of silence, conspiracy of peace, only the sound of the cold northern breeze. Hey, twin suns sink fading behind the black lake. Asleep is the mountains, yet the night is awake. Strange is the night, now black stars rise, and many moons circle through silent night. So even here, we're kind of starting to see the prevalence of nature and cold northern winter imagery and darkness and all these things. You know, the black lake, the black stars, the many moons circling through the silent night. It's kind of painting a very still, calm, foreboding landscape. The song is called Fine Day to Die. Maybe it's referencing like the night before some sort of battle, just the kind of quiet stillness and I guess stress, or just that quiet waiting without being able to relax before you wake up the next day and don't know if you're gonna live through it. So I don't know, let's continue. That's some great black metal vocals right there. Those are amazing. Okay. Okay. So right now what we're getting is these very primal just screams that seem to be getting wrenched from the bottom of this guy's soul. Not saying anything yet, just kind of establishing the mood, if you will. The instrumental, very riff heavy. Definitely, the influence of traditional heavy metal is still quite strong. Just the overall sound, the overall mixed quality, especially the drums. Maybe it's very much a product of its time, the 80s. But when you're kind of thinking how it's a precursor to second wave black metal, it's very fitting. I don't know, it just sounds good. And maybe it's not good in the classical sense, but to me it just sounds like yes, it's like settling into a familiar rhythm, just and the comfort in that, even though I haven't heard it before. It's good. It's like, oh yes, well, this is where it came from. This is obviously the precursor to all these great bands and just a genre in general. But yeah, I mostly just want to make note of the guitar riffs and how it's not nearly as reliant on tremolo picking. I don't want to spend the whole video comparing Bathory to what black metal eventually became. So that'll just be my little notes on that for now. Overall, I'm enjoying it. It's just growing along. So we'll just keep going. Okay. So see, my theory might have been right. He's saying, along the black mountainside scattered by the campfires awaiting the dawn, 2 times 100 men in battles, tried by the steel in the arrow, axe, and the sword. Soldiers awaiting battle, fighting, dying. Yeah, I like how it says tried by the steel. They go through a trial by steel, and the steel being present in arrows, axes, and swords that they find themselves up against and hurl at each other in desperate fury. His vocal quality too is something I took note of as well when he started actually singing the lyrics or whatever. It's very raw, it's very unpolished, but it just kind of has that ferocity that you would expect, I just have this image of a wolf charging through this forest on the outskirts of his battle. It's just very animalistic, very brutal. It's not like a pure shriek of noise. You can kind of hear his voice behind it, but that almost just makes it more real in a sense, because you can hear the human behind these cries. DSBM, you hear some of that a little bit, but that's kind of been brought to such an extreme that it's completely its own thing now. Oh, and that guitar too? Okay. First of all, I love that kind of guitar. I don't know if you call it a solo, but just the you can definitely see the frenetic picking style coming into play here. But I just want to kind of take into note just that last little bit of verse there, where it says, "The elder among the men looked deep into the fire and spoke loud with pride. Tomorrow is a fine day to die," which is such like a epic warrior thing to say that you would see in like literature or I don't know, film perhaps. Now, of course, the whole idea of war and battle and honor and glory in it is very highly romanticized by fiction works and stuff like that. And then there's that whole kind of counter movement within the same fiction. Like the old vets who always say like, well, war is not nearly as glorious as you young fighters make it out to be. But there is something about just that certain sense of accepting your fate and living that kind of life to the fullest extent that these fictional characters in this song do. That is intriguing. It's easy to see why the whole idea is romanticized. I also liked how the drums and stuff kind of switched up and underscored the lyrics there as well. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Let's just keep going. Okay. So I like this kind of switch up because that last little chunk of the verse there. Now morning advanced from far east. Now the sun breaks through dust clouds and haze. Now a forest of spears appears on the hill and steel shines bright in the sun's first rays. You know, more that cold, dark, still night has finally passed. Potentially sleepless for a lot of these warriors. The morning sun now peaks above the horizon, and the forest now augmented with a forest of spears appearing over the hilltop, and the sun kind of glints off of the steel spearheads. And then it's kind of switching into this more like the cleaner guitars, signifying a brighter dawn. And perhaps, you know, all these warriors who were so scared throughout the dark night and just completely terrified of what tomorrow may bring now that the moment has finally come. All kind of thought and fear drains from them when they charge into battle and kind of just accept whatever happens. Still terrifying, thus his still shrieking vocals when he's saying die. But the overall mood of the song, much brighter, much lighter. I don't know. Not to say that battles and wars are just great cleansing forces for the soul or anything. That could be the mood or the feeling that the song is trying to evoke right now. Oh, I spoke too soon. So that was Bathory, Fine Day to Die. Incredible. Super epic. How I kind of like viewed that last couple minutes there after the verse finished and when the the sun came over the hill and stuff is he was mostly just instrumental, and he would kind of shriek die every once in a while, especially near the kind of closing end of the song. But I kind of viewed that entire instrumental passage as almost narrating the course of a battle. It starts off with this kind of like surreal, calm bliss as for the initial moments. It's almost like otherworldly. You don't really, can't really believe what's happening. And then, the armies collide. They had that really chaotic guitar solo again. Just a sense of just complete and utter chaos. Big old mess, basically, of war. That a soldier, it's kind of like narrating a battle from a soldier's perspective, right? Then after that is done, it kind of settles into this monotonous riff. If you survive the initial clash, you could potentially kind of just be there hacking away at the other side for the entire day. It kind of stays on that riff until he starts shrieking die, die again. And eventually one side will win. One side just smashes into the other side until one of them is gone. Who knows if that's what his actual intent was with that instrumental passage, but that was my initial thought when I was listening to the song, so I'll stick with it. Why not, hey? Haha. My video, my choice. But other than that, I had a great time listening to it. Bathory is one of those bands I've kind of been really meaning to get into just because of their influence and infamy. I'm sure this is a great introduction to them. Thank you again for the suggestion. If you liked the video, make sure to like it. If you like my channel, make sure to subscribe. Of course, everybody have a great day. I don't remember what day it is today. Is it Tuesday? If it's Tuesday, I won't see you tomorrow, but I'll see you probably Thursday. So that's what's gonna happen. All right, cool. Catch you later, homies. Go listen to black metal.